Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is JoeYoursTruly back with another video, and today we're gonna be going over, I guess, the current state of the game. So, kind of like my input, my viewpoint on that, because it's sort of become a hot topic lately. Well, a lot of people are kind of posting about the grievances online. Other content creators are also giving their inputs on the current state of the game. So, this kind of like me, kind of giving contributing to that conversation because I figure you guys want to hear my inputs, my thoughts on the current state of the game. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about that, but mostly we're actually gonna be talking about the future of the game, or rather, what the game should be doing in season 3 beyond to really become the best version of itself. So just real quick, what actually kind of started this conversation was the recent kind of blog post where we're talking about the season 2 roadmap update, where essentially they were saying how they're gonna push back the new user interface, the UI, for this season, and it's like this is kind of like one of the biggest planned features. I would say it really kind of help bring a lot more of that quality of life stuff into the game, right? So this is kind of like the overview of the World Map Season 2, and I think that's one of the bigger highlights that's of this planned features that's being removed and pushed back to Season 3. So now there's less stuff for season 2, a little bit less jam packed, right? And so I mean, there's always been kind of issues talking about the current state of the game. It's just like this conversation especially became a hot topic with the season 2 roadmap that just kind of dropped a little bit ago. But another reason why I want to make this video is because I feel like, especially lately, there's been a little bit too much negativity surrounding the game. Well, it got to the point where it's not even just feedback being given to the devs. I feel like people are kind of lashing out a little bit too much online. I feel like people are kind of blowing some stuff a little bit out of proportion, kind of thing. And I mean, there's definitely some issues with the current state of the game, but I feel like people are sort of forgetting that there's an early access game, which by the way is not like an excuse for it, but it's still like a big part. Like this is an early access PvP MOBA online game. Like things are gonna be kind of weird. There's gonna be some low points. There's gonna be some issues that are only gonna stick around until we make that big full release, right? And I feel like some people are forgetting that, and because of that, they're kind of like really kind of lashing out really hard online and really kind of painting this game in a very gloomy state, right? And I definitely never been one that really likes the negative vibes. I'd rather kind of talk about what can be improved on, what can be realistically be done in season 3 and beyond, right? So that's kind of like what I want mostly focus on in this video. But just real quick, let's talk about these issues that are being brought up. And so some of the issues that people are being talking about a lot right now is definitely one of them is the wacky MMRs, where people are saying that they keep getting into uneven lobbies. They feel like they keep getting new players into the games. They feel like they getting really steamrolled by enemy team, and the matchmaking is very unfair. People are talking about the early surrenders. That I make that joke all the time, where people just surrender at 10-15 minutes a lot. There are AFKs and toxic people and whatnot, and they definitely are in the game, but I feel like people are kind of blowing out of proportion, saying that they're just everywhere, that ministers is just not dealing with them at all, and I feel like that's a little bit untrue. Definitely ministers are taking care of them. They've been banning when they can, or taking action, right? It's just the big thing is there's no like in-game notification that hey, that person you reported has been taken care of, whatnot. The only way we can tell if certain players or whatnot are actually being taken action against is when you get Robbie or someone like officially like make a response to that kind of post, right? And it does happen. I definitely see it being done, but it doesn't happen all the time, kind of thing. And that's what people are saying, that hey, they're not being taken care of, right? But there's just no easy way to tell, right? There's no like feedback loop, right? On that regard, and that's definitely something that ministers can eventually implement sometime in the future, where like an in-game notification telling that person's been taken care of. That'd be really great, right? But one big reason people are kind of complaining about is they feel like there's no reason to keep playing the game. There's no hero mastery system. There's no permanent forms of progression. The games are just not as fun to play right now. Like, what's the point, right? And I mean, those are definitely legitimate kind of like concerns, right? Because that's one of the big things that I keep saying, and like the podcast or whenever I kind of talk with you guys on stream. Big thing I really want this game to have is that hero mastery system, or forms of permanent progression because definitely that alone will give you so much like play a lot more better ability to have player retention in the game, right? And it's just like when you don't have something like that in place, it could be tough to kind of like keep players interested in the game. Like the gameplay can be really fun, but if there's no like something for people to keep looking forward to keep grinding out the game, that's sort of like what kind of leads people to feeling like they need to take a break from the game. They feel like there's no big reason to like keep grinding out the game a whole lot, right? And that's like the biggest thing about the current state of the game that people are kind of talking about. I've been kind of sort of feeling myself and whatnot, but I think the big thing that people need to remember is that this is sort of a early access game at the end of the day, which is no excuse by the way, but it's that's what I mean by it. This game is sort of in a weird spot. It's an online PvP only game. It's sort of a niche kind of genre, being like a 3D MOBA kind of thing, and and a lot of these issues are stemming from the fact that we don't have a huge like player base count, right? And that's why like the one thing I want to focus more so in this video is what exactly can Series focus on in season 3 and beyond, because I think season 2 right now is sort of kind of like the low point of the game. Definitely things are definitely not as ideal and whatnot. I still have fun with the game, but I can't like see myself playing this game 24/7, right? That's why I've been kind of playing some other games on my own time and trying to focus on making sure I don't burn myself on the game, right? I have a lot of fun making content for you guys and trying out off meta stuff, doing some really wacky fun builds, right? But definitely don't want to like burn myself out by playing the game and dealing with these issues a whole lot, right? And so the big thing is that season 2 may be the low point of the game, and hopefully that'll be just the lowest point, and that in season 3 and every other season that comes after that will only get better, right? Because as we get closer and closer to the full release, we'll have more that features we're missing. We'll hopefully get a lot more plays for like the concert crowd, for example. Things can only get better from here on out, but how exactly can we make those changes sooner rather than later to really kind of help the current situation, right? And the big thing is I feel like season 3 is shaping up to be what, or at least what I'm hoped is gonna be a comeback season for Predecessor, because a lot of stuff it's kind of get pushed back, like the UI is getting pushed back. The hero mastery system, they actually talk about it. They were hinting that it's probably coming season 2, but they say that hey, it's getting pushed back again, but we just want to make the best version of it, right? So season 3 is looking to hopefully be a big comeback season, and I think that's when we should hopefully get a lot more of the really like fun missing features for the game. So of course, like season 3, definitely what I really want to see personally is a hero mastery system. They've been talking about it. I really hope they're gonna actually implement that in season 3, because that alone will have so much play retention value, and definitely it's gonna really help the game out in this early access state. And the big thing is the console release. They've been saying that they're delaying the UI because they want to focus on implementing as fast as they can so they can get it ready for the console crowd. So I hope that means that they're teasing for a console release in season 3, and what that means is that it's going to be a healthy dosage of players going back into the game, right? So right now we're sort of averaging about like 1,000 so active players like at the peak times and whatnot. So with the console release and with enough good advertisement, that should hopefully mean that that should be at least more than double, so 2,000, 3,000. I'm really hoping that the console release it's gonna like really kind of inject a healthy amount of players back in the game, right? And of course, like if you're gonna introduce new players back in the game, that you definitely want to make sure that you add in the features that can help them keep playing the game, because console players are tend to be more casual. I was originally a console player, so I would know this kind of stuff, right? And definitely the hero mastery is a big part of it. So if they have a huge hero mastery system ready for the console crowd, that's definitely a lot of like play retention ability right there. I feel like it's gonna really help the game a whole lot is a casual game mode. And I know that the big thing that people are worried about is getting a casual game mode means that it's gonna split the player base that's already kind of small, right? And it's definitely a legitimate kind of concern, but I think the big thing that people a sort of a gain, or rather not realizing, is that a casual game mode is gonna have so much play retention ability. Like you look at League of Legends, one of the most competitive mobile games out there, and most of the players will only play ARAM, right? And that's strictly a casual game mode kind of thing. That's kind of insane when you think about like this. Is League of Legends always been pushed as a competitive MOBA, like first class, right? It's the MOBA that every other MOBA kind of wants to be with his huge player base, but most of them will only play ARAM, and it really says a lot that the casual players are the ones that really keep the game healthy in the long run. And I feel like Predecessor can really benefit that a whole lot with their own spin-off on the casual game mode. Of course, I think we still kind of fall out from that because I think doing a fully fledged out casual game mode would take a lot of time and manpower, right? But they can definitely do something similar to a competitive night. Well, Series was using competitive nights as a way to test for the Wings solo duo mode. So I feel like they can do the same thing for the casual sense, where like it won't be a fully fleshed out casual game mode, but it can be a simple like 3v3 or ARAM kind of game mode. Like, hey, we're gonna make this game mode temporarily for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday kind of thing. You can go in and have fun with it, right? And I feel like even if it's only a temporary game mode that you get like play once or twice weekly, I feel like it can give a ton of good play retention or reason people to come back and have fun with the game, because at the end of the day, people just want to keep having fun, live that power fantasy, getting full build on like a Grux or Collide and just going ham, right? And doing that and just this current casual game mode can be really hard because of the problems that I kind of talked about earlier. But if you have a casual game mode where it's meant to only last 15-20 minutes and you can get full build within that time frame, and I think that just makes it really fun and enjoyable for players, right? So I think with all that different features, I think season 3 have the potential to be a really good comeback season for Predecessor if done right. And of course, we can kind of sit here, we can talk about what we want to see, what features want to get added and whatnot, but it doesn't necessarily fix the current state of the game or where we're at in season 2, right? And I guess it's just going to be one of those things that is unfortunately is going to be solving issues we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have to kind of bear with it and trust in the process, because this is an early access game. There's going to be low points. There are going to be times where the game is not going to be the most ideal, but things can only get better, as I said, as the game goes on. It's just, this is just gonna be one of those things we're gonna have to kind of sit with a bit. And there's nothing wrong with taking a break from the game. It doesn't mean that the game is completely dead. It just means that this is an early access game. Trying to play this game 24/7 is not gonna be as feasible when you compare it to an actual, more fully released kind of game, right? And on that note, one game I actually want to kind of talk about briefly and show a little bit of gameplay of is actually going to be a game called Omega Strikers. And by the way, this is not a sponsored video. The only reason why I brought this game up in the first place is because I actually talked about this game with Blood Mordius, who is a senior gameplay designer at Melee Studios, on one of the previous podcast episodes. So I'll leave the link to that discussion down in the description if you guys want to hear. But essentially, I brought this game up to Blood Mordius is because I feel like this is a game where administrators can actually learn a lot from, a lot of good stuff, and take some really good notes. Not so much on the gameplay itself, but more so like in, I guess, the scope of the game or how the development team is handling this game, because this is a studio that's sort of in the same boat as Studios. They've just been founded a couple of years ago. They have the same amount of funding. They have very similar team sizes. So in terms of like development and manpower, they're very similar. And I think the big thing about this game I want to highlight is this is a game that's out and for release on the first very season, right? And so this is exactly where we want Predecessor to be at. We want Predecessor to be in that state where it's in season 1, a full release. So no longer early access, no longer pay to like play, free to play, and have the casual game mode, have the competitive mode, and all that good stuff, right? And I feel like for this game that's been sort of under the radar, and I just found about recently from my friends playing it, I feel like this is a game or the team have made this first full release launch very successfully. Like I feel like the big thing we worry about Predecessor is we won't really want that full release to be as good as it can be. And I feel like if you're looking for the best comparison, of course you can compare Predecessor to Smite and League of Legends and whatnot. It makes sense in both MOBAs. But if you're looking for like an actual realistic kind of scope of the game, and in terms of like development, in terms of like manpower and talent and all that stuff, comparing American Studios to the developers of this game is the best comparison in my opinion. And I really do feel like the administrators can take some really good notes on how the team is handling this, because they have so much presence on social media. The way they do the patch notes is really good. Like they use a VTuber for the patch notes, but it's really kind of funny and like very interesting how they do that kind of stuff. But it adds so much charm to the game, and I think that's the one big thing that I think this game is also missing too, that people haven't been up. It's not that, of course, we're missing the casual game mode, of course, we're missing the rank mode, of course, we're missing the hero mastery system. But another big thing that I think this game can really benefit from, that it's sort of missing, is that charm and love kind of put in the game. Like, and I mean, like, the devs are putting a ton of love and effort into the game, of course. But what I mean by charm, I mean, like, I've probably a lot about the cosmetics or how you interact with your opponents. Like, see here, I'm playing against this team, playing with my teammates, and you can see like whenever I make a score, when they make a score, like the people are using their emotes, people are making favorite save. Like it's just, there's so much like charm and love, like being brought online, that enhances the gameplay. And I mean, of course, we're gonna get emotes and whatnot. We're gonna like jump pads, like VX and all that kind of stuff. And I think those stuff is what's gonna add that charm to Predecessor. So in terms of like I guess what they can take notes on, they can take notes on how the emotes and the cosmetics are being done in this game, because it's actually just so much love, and it just makes the gameplay even more fun when you have people spamming emotes, and depending on what's happening, it just makes the gameplay even more fun. So that's kind of like my kind of side tangent on this like game itself. So if you're kind of looking to like try something new, like you want to take a little break from Predecessor, I think this is a good game you guys can kind of play a little bit with and try to and have fun with it. Again, this is not a sponsored video. This is the game I mentioned that I really been enjoying playing lately. I've been kind of just pairing this with Predecessor. I make content, I kind of try out some stuff on my own, but then at a certain point, once I feel like I got my good amount of games in and whatnot, trying not to, instead of like trying to give myself a little bit too burnt out just playing this game 24/7, there's just a perfect like pairing game for me personally. So definitely, like, if any of you guys do try this game out, definitely let me know down in the comments. And I think for those who do try this game out, I think you guys can kind of see a little bit what I mean by the comparisons, like how this game is actually kind of similar, in the sense that I feel like this is just I can tell this is a community-driven game without the devs telling me that. I can tell that from just playing this game myself. But that's gonna be just about it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope my explanation makes sense. Definitely, if there's anything you guys want me to clarify on or expand a little bit more, definitely drop them down in the comments below. If there's any other feedback or like suggestions I sort of kind of missed that you guys think is a really good idea, definitely drop them down below as well. And I just want to say I really appreciate you guys' support a whole lot. This is the kind of content I'm normally not the biggest fan of making, or rather I'm kind of like making my gameplay commentary videos. That's all like what I want the main focus of the channel to be, more so. But I do realize that you guys like my opinions and want to hear me especially talk about these more like hot topics, right? So I really do appreciate you guys supporting me and valuing my kind of opinions and whatnot. So thank you so much for that. But anyways, Tuesday is going to be coming pretty soon. There's definitely going to be some really cool stuff we're going to be testing and whatnot. I'm definitely going to have some spicy builds wait for you guys on the Tuesday update. So definitely look forward to that. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Peace.